I was driving home from work a little earlier than usual, and the streets were bathed in the kind of golden light that makes everything feel softer than it really is. The sun was just beginning to set, casting long shadows across the sidewalk, and for a moment, I remember thinking how calm it all looked. The kind of calm that almost tricks you into believing the world is gentle. I turned onto our street, the familiar row of houses blurring by in warm light, and that's when I noticed a car parked a few doors down from ours. It wasn't one I recognized, but I didn't pay it much attention until I saw them. There, beneath the quiet glow of a street lamp, stood my wife. She wasn't alone. A man stood close to her, too close. They weren't speaking, weren't even moving, just holding each other like there was no one else in the world. His arms were wrapped securely around her waist, and her head rested lightly against his chest. My stomach tightened before my mind could catch up. At first, I wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation. A family friend, a concerned neighbor, maybe someone comforting her. But then she looked up at him and smiled. It was the kind of smile that doesn't ask for permission, doesn't carry hesitation. It was soft, familiar, intimate, not the kind of expression you give to a friend. I slowed the car and pulled up quietly behind another vehicle, heart racing, lungs tightening. I stayed low, watching. Then he leaned down and kissed her. It wasn't rushed or uncertain. It was slow, deliberate, full of something deep, like they had time. And the worst part was that she kissed him back, her hands resting gently on his chest like it was the most natural place for them to be. Something inside me fractured. I couldn't move, couldn't even breathe right. I just sat there, frozen, my hands gripping the wheel like it was the only thing holding me together. I watched them say their goodbyes. He walked one way, and she turned toward our house, moving without urgency, as if nothing in her world had shifted. I stayed in the car, hidden in the failing light, trying to calm the storm inside me. My body trembled from the weight of what I had just seen. By the time I gathered the nerve to go inside, she was already in the kitchen. She turned around with that same familiar smile and asked how my day had gone, her tone light, casual, untouched by guilt. I stared at her for a long moment, trying to find cracks in her expression, searching for any trace of remorse or discomfort. There was nothing. She was perfect in her performance. I said nothing. I nodded through her stories, barely tasting the dinner she had made. I didn't want to hear her voice, but I couldn't stop listening, hoping, somehow, that the truth would leak through. When it didn't, I excused myself early. In bed, I turned away from her, my back rigid, the silence between us louder than any argument could have been. I didn't sleep. My mind replayed it all again and again. The way she leaned into him, the kiss, the look on her face like she belonged there. Each memory felt like a needle pressed into my chest. In the morning, the air between us felt thinner. She was already awake, humming as she moved through her usual routine, as though the night before hadn't torn through my heart like a blade. I sat quietly, watching her pour her coffee, her movements graceful and unaware, or maybe just pretending to be. When she finally noticed my silence, she asked if something was wrong. I looked at her, and for a brief second, something in her eyes shifted, a flicker of nervousness. She recovered quickly, but I'd seen it. I asked, "Were you out last night before I came home?" Her eyes faltered, just for a breath. I took a short walk. "Needed some air," she said, her voice casual. I nodded slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. "Did you meet anyone?" Another pause. "No." "Why?" I didn't believe her. Not for a second. But I didn't press her. I wanted her to tell me the truth on her own, to feel the weight of what she had done. But she didn't. She offered a soft smile, then turned and walked away, as if my questions were nothing more than idle curiosity. Later that morning, I stayed home, called in sick, though I was anything but ill in the ordinary sense. I sat in the living room, staring at the wall, trying to understand how it had come to this. How long had it been going on? How many nights had she stood under a different light in someone else's arms while I worked late, while I trusted her without question? By noon, I checked her phone. It was locked. She'd never locked it before. That alone was enough. That small change was deafening. Still, I didn't confront her. Not then. I wasn't ready. Instead, I started packing a bag, methodically folding clothes with shaking hands. I needed distance. Not for punishment, not even for clarity, just to breathe. When she came home that evening, she looked surprised to find the suitcase near the door. "Where are you going?" she asked. Her voice carried confusion, not panic. I didn't offer a long explanation. I looked at her, calm and resolute, and said, "Because I know." She went pale. Her mouth opened slightly, but no words came. She didn't ask what I knew. She didn't deny it. She just stood there, silent and still, as I walked past her and out the door. That night, I stayed at a friend's place. I didn't sleep much there either, but at least I didn't feel like I was suffocating on lies. By morning, her message arrived. It was long, full of apologies and regrets. She admitted everything, that it had started a few months ago, that she never meant for it to happen, that she still loved me, but things had changed between us. She wrote it all out like confession, might redeem the betrayal. I didn't reply. I couldn't. Some betrayals carved too deep. Love isn't supposed to feel like this. It isn't supposed to feel like being replaced while your back is turned. A home isn't supposed to echo with lies. When the sun finally rose in full, I felt something shift in me. I wasn't shattered, just wide awake in a way I hadn't been in a long time. I couldn't go back. Not to that house. Not to a life where I had to wonder every time she smiled if it was meant for someone else. Just a few paces from where our life once stood, she had held another man like she once held me. And that morning, I understood something clearly. Everything had changed.